Thank you very much. Yeah, so just before I start, I would like to ask how many of you actually used NL2? Did any of you used? Okay, so I will just ask really quickly, okay, which one did you use? Okay, and you guys? Which ones did you? Arbitrum. Okay. I really like to ask this question before I ever talk. Okay, so should everyone launch their own rollup? Brief showcase of rollup's ecosystem. Yep. So very quick recap. What is actually a rollup? Because as you know, if you have like Twitter account and you are checking what our researchers are tweeting from time to time, actually a lot of these terms in our space are like not decided yet. Let's put it that way. That's why L2BEAT created a glossary. You can check it on l2beat.com/glossary, and every single one of those terms is actually out there. So in our interpretation, L2BEAT interpretation, rollup is a blockchain that inherits consensus and data availability from another blockchain called L1. In this particular case, of course, Ethereum. Rollups enable trust minimized bridges with base layer via proof systems, either optimistic or zero knowledge. So long story short, if you will bridge assets from Ethereum L1 to like this rollup chain, if the rollups goes down, you still can withdraw the funds using only L1. So right now we have around 27 active rollups. By active, I mean there is a mainnet that you can use, and there is 29 upcoming ones. Probably some of them are still missing because they were announced not so long ago. So as you see, it's pretty different than it was like 3 years ago, because at that point on L2BEAT there were like I think 7 or 6 projects. So you see the space is growing really quickly. And it's getting easier and easier to deploy your own rollup. Yeah, so let's say you are like a company or a guy, even like a single person, and you are actually thinking about deploying your own rollup, so deploying your own chain. So why should you even think about it, right? So let's say you already, like for example, you have an established app, like a wallet. So for example, Zerion or WordApp or MetaMask even, right? Those are great choices. So you have this app already, and you have a huge user base. And you basically, like for example, I will use Wallet as an example right now. So you can like, you have this huge user base, and you can like very easily channel users to use certain chains by that. So for example, on MetaMask right now, what you can see is when you like, you can use it, of course, like Ethereum, like as like the main chain, right? But if you want to go to an L2, like so you want to go to the other chain where the when you will bridge there and the transactions will be cheaper and faster, the default option for an L2 is linear, right? So consensus layer 2. So that way they can channel the users to their own chain. And basically, of course, like they can earn, thanks to that, they can earn fees from all of these transactions. They can also, like, for example, add another features to their own existing apps or dApps or anything like that, an existing infrastructure that wouldn't be possible if they would like stick with like like the normal setup that they have. Yeah, you can also like, for example, let's say you are a Solidity developer, but EVM is not suitable for your needs. So maybe you want to have like an other virtual machine. So for example, Starknet that allows you to, for example, use Cairo, right? They have their own language. They have their own virtual machine, Cairo VM. And basically you can do like cool stuff with it, like a bit differently than on EVM. So for example, but like those bundled transactions that I like so much on Starknet. Let's say maybe you are an L1, you already have like an established user base, you have like your own nodes, you have your own token, but maybe for some reason you didn't went mainstream, and right now you can like very easily migrate from being an L1 to be an L2. Maybe you want to upgrade your existing protocol. So for example, a good like one of the newest L2s that are focused on this particular example is ENS. I know that you probably heard about it. ENS wants to launch their own L2. This is like, for them, it's like a natural extension of their protocol, the next step in their evolution, and they are leaning towards ZK Stack to do it. And of course, like maybe you only want to use an existing tech. drop some additional stuff, some marketing, sprinkle some incentives, and basically earn easy money. Like there are many choices. So basically, yeah, why I'm like talking about those certain possibilities, because there is already a rollup that is doing something like that, as you can see. So, for example, Base is from this Coinbase ecosystem. They have the centralized exchange, and what they can do is that they can very easily channel everybody from their own ecosystem to like their own L2. So there are like, you can use like sexes for many things right now, but they are limited in a way. And like basically like the whole DeFi, the whole like blockchains are also really cool. They allow a lot of stuff to be done that you can do on sexes. So for example, they can easily channel the user. They have this their own solution. They can channel the users from the like Coinbase wallet, from Coinbase Sex, or anything like that. And then they can like, you know, they are basically starting. They are like super ahead of everybody else thanks to that, right? Or maybe they're like, for example, there is like this Chroma protocol that basically what they did, they took the OP stack technology and they added the scroll ZK EVM on top of it. They merged it. Basically, they saw an opportunity, let's say, and they like connected two pieces of tech together, and that way they basically made an OP stack rollup that actually has some kind of fraud proofs in a way, right? So there is like the whole ecosystem is like really vast, and I will try to talk about it in a detail right now. So maybe after this talk you will understand it a bit better. So yeah, actually, why choose Ethereum rollups in particular? So let's say, as I said, you want to launch your own chain. So why shouldn't you just launch a new L1, right? So there is a problem with launching new L1s, and basically you need to do everything by yourself. So you need to take care of the like setting up nodes, right? You need to like decentralize it, like in ideal way, you would have like a couple of nodes on each continent, for example, right? So that way they can be like shut down very easily. You would need to have like your own native cryptocurrency. So like Ether, for example, right? You would need to set up this whole economic security by yourself. And it actually takes, first things first, a lot of money, a lot of time, and you might fail along the way, right? So in theory, the easier way to do it right now is to actually connect to something that already has established those things that I talked about. And in our case, Ethereum, right? Or any other L1, you can connect to this L1, create another blockchain, you post the data, you can bridge between them in any way. But what you are doing, you are basically taking this economic security from them by, for example, posting the data about all the transactions that happen on your chain on this particular L1. And that way, if your chain, like for example, has, I don't know, like it can only has like 3 nodes, for example. If it goes down, all of these nodes are destroyed. Thanks to like correct implementation, all of the data is available on Ethereum, and then you can not only, like for example, withdraw the money, using the smart contracts, but also when for example, the chain goes up again, like whole history is still available, right? You can like basically you have this super nice copy of it on Ethereum, and Ethereum, as we know, it has like thousands of nodes all across the globe. So like an event in which like Ethereum goes down is like very hard to imagine actually right now. And also you have, of course, Ether. So it's right here there is a tweet from Justin Drake that compares economic security of 2 L1s, so Bitcoin and Ethereum. And in my opinion, it's very important because, for example, on Bitcoin, if you like the whole economic security is over 10 billions. So if you would like to do a 50% attack on this particular L1 that you are, if you have this L2, you are dependent on, you are basically betting that there will be nobody with so much money to get this hash rate to actually take over the network. And if it's take over the L1, it also takes over the L2 in the process as well, right? So in Ethereum, you have like proof of stake. So to control Ethereum, you need to have 66% of the whole stake. So it's a lot like harder to do. Right now, the economic security is here. It's for 3,400 per ETH, but I believe right now it's around 3,800, right? So it's even bigger. So over $100 billion of economic security. The possibility that somebody will buy so much ETH to make so many nodes to actually control the 66% of the network is a lot lower than to do it with Bitcoin, in my opinion, at least. Yeah. So let's say that you think that Ethereum is like the correct choice for your chain. So you want to make this rollup. So the next thing is you need to choose the type of the rollup. Right now, there are two main approaches. So you can do a ZK rollup, optimistic rollup. I will not talk about hybrids that are slowly popping up here and there because there are really complicated cases. So let's say right now, for the purpose of this presentation, there is only ZK rollups and optimistic rollups in the like pure implementation. So ZK rollups, of course, when they are posting this data that I mentioned to L1, they are validating every single block via ZK proofs. Which is a bit in theory a bit more expensive, but also there is a lot of like security connected to it as well. And then you have optimistic rollups that post those data, and if there is no entity or individual that is saying that like the data that they are posting to L1 is incorrect, it is taken as the truth, right? You have this usually 7-day period of time, and you can challenge every single block, right? So that's, for example, is when you are like bridging stuff to Optimism or like, I don't know, Arbitrum. You need to, for example, to withdraw, you need to wait for those 7 days, right? It's connected to this exact thing. With ZK rollups, you in theory should do it like immediately or in like very short span of time. But right now, a lot of them have like this like additional time period in which you need to wait to withdraw. For example, ZK Sync, you actually need to wait 21 hours to withdraw from ZK Sync era. Like in the end game, it shouldn't be like that. It should be like instant, thanks to ZK proofs. So yeah, optimistic rollups. So as you probably mentioned already, I think there is Arbitrum 1, right? Everybody is using Arbitrum 1. They had like one of the first airdrops ever. For L2s. Right now they control over 40% of the whole L2 market, so that's a lot, and this is like a single chain, right? But also you have OP mainnet, so Optimism, like the pretender, the pretender for the first place, that actually controls only 70% of the market, but they have like totally two different approaches. So Arbitrum is, as I said, like this single giant, big, powerful chain. Of course, you have like Arbitrum orbits here and there, but they are not as significant, at least right now, as other rollups. But Optimism has an approach of superchain. So basically, they have the OP stack is public, right? You can use their code, and you don't need to like partner with them in any way. But you also can take their code and partner with them, and basically, for example, share stuff like RetroPGF or like Optimism incentives, OP tokens, of course. And like development of the OP stack in general, right? So now the biggest like chain that chose to do that is of course Base, that I already mentioned, by Coinbase, but also there is Blast. I'm sure you heard about it. So if you combine the top 4 OP stack rollups, they actually control 31% of the market, so a bit higher than Arbitrum 1. So yeah, very interesting case here, for sure. And also, like one important thing to mention is that Base, like the chain that is using Optimism mainnet technology, is actually getting really close to beat Optimism in TVL. So yeah, you can see that maybe this is like this super chain theory is a correct, right? Yeah, and total of TVL of all optimistic rollups is close to $40 billion. So I would say right now a lot. And then you have ZK rollups market. So right now, if you combine all top 10 ZK rollups, so Linea, Starknet, ZK Sync, Era, Scroll, Polygon, ZK EVM, and others, they control like together 10% of the whole market, so a lot less than optimistic rollups. You can still be pretty optimistic about optimistic, as Ed Felten is saying, the CEO of Arbitrum. And the total TVL is slightly less than $5 billion. So also it's a loss, it's 10 times less. But Vitalik Buterin, I'm sure you know him, he says that ZK rollups are the end game, right? So that the optimistic rollups are only here for like a bit shorter span of time, maybe like 10, 15, 20, 30 years. And then ZK rollups will become the main rollup implementation. Yeah, so let's say you decided to either go with optimistic or ZK. So right now you need to deploy your rollup, right? So how to do it? So as I said, you can use one of the providers. So Arbitrum Orbit, OP Stack, Starknet, Polygon ZK VM, or ZK Stack. Those are the 5 core stacks, I would say, right now. They come with their advantages and disadvantages. We don't have time to go into like every single one of them, but I strongly suggest to check it out. Or if you don't want to do it by yourself, you can use rollup as a service provider that the guy before me was talking about. So basically, there are companies that are working kind of like cloud services in a way, and you just go to them. You are clicking sometimes some buttons like on AVS, for example, and they are deploying the rollup for you, right? So it's super easy. It was never easier in our history to actually deploy a chain, and you are paying them a small fee. So for example, like I think for Conduit, it's like $3,000 every month, I think, something around that. So a lot less than if you would need to do everything by yourself, right? Or you can create your own or modify your own tech. Maybe you are a genius and actually you thought about something that none of these Ethereum researchers thought about till now. Be my guest. I would love to hear about it after the talk. So if you actually deploy the rollup, there will be a couple of problems for you. So problem number 1 is liquidity. I'm sure you try to farm some airdrops here and there, like for example by sending ETH or USDC or doing some transactions on those rollups. So right now there is this liquidity fragmentation problem. So you have a lot of chains that are not connected with each other, that you bridge funds from Ethereum. And for example, if you want to make like, let's say, trade tokens or do anything similar, right? There is not enough liquidity between them, and sometimes your transaction is failing because of that, right? So right now, what are your choices? You can go with like trusting interoperability protocols, so like layer 0, Wormhole, or Hyperlane. Some of them are permissionless, some of them you need to like officially partner with. They will allow you to like easily bridge tokens between like different solutions. Not a perfect thing from like the user experience, because like for me personally, when I need to like search for the correct bridge to actually send the token that I want to another L2, it's very it's not perfect. Let's put it like that. Then you can have like a shared liquidity. So right now there are like some new ideas popping up here and there. So for example, I'm sure you heard about AgLayer by Polygon. So what they are doing is that when somebody is using the stack, so Polygon ZK AVM stack, they can opt in to this AgLayer idea. And basically there is one smart contract that is like responsible for bridging, and everything that you are bridging to like the certain chain. So for example, Polygon ZK EVM or Astra ZK EVM or Layer X, the chains that are using this stack, all of them can use the same liquidity, right? And basically, I think right now there are talks in Optimism ecosystem to have something similar for Superchain, but I'm just not 100% sure if that will happen. So do your own research. And also there is a chance that there will be like a new other solution to quickly move assets from one L2 to another that Vitalik proposed not so long ago. That will be like operator free and governance free, but I just didn't hear about something like that yet. If you did, let me know after the presentation as well. So the problem number 2 will be developers. So basically, you can go with like standard EVM implementation. So developers will use Solidity to make apps, smart contracts, anything on your chain. But EVM is not perfect for every single use case, right? So maybe you would rather choose some other virtual machine. So if you don't know what those virtual machines are doing, they are allowing you to write smart contracts in other languages, right? So for example, if you have like Aztec, if you choose Aztec virtual machine, you can write smart contracts using their own language called Noir. Like for Fuel VM, it's Sway. For Cairo VM, it's Cairo, and so on and so on. For Eclipse, the upcoming L2, they are using Solana virtual machine, so that you can write smart contracts in Rust, for example. And my personal thing that I would like suggest you is to check out Electric Capital Developers Report, and you can actually check how many active devs are there on these particular chains, right? So for example, how many are using Arbitrum Stylus, how many of them are using EVM, so on. Because if you don't have developers on your chain will become dead sooner or later. Okay, and so what costs should you anticipate? So of course you need to post this data somewhere, right? To have this, like as I said, this safely kept copy. So you can either choose Ethereum as your DA layer. So you can post the data as call data or use blobs following the EIP 4844. I'm sure you heard about it, which are a lot cheaper. Or you can use like alternative DA. So till now your choices were quite limited. For example, like last year. But right now you have Celestia, you have EigenDA, you have the blobs that I mentioned. There is Avail mainnet coming as well. So there are a lot of choices that offer like different pricing, offer different additional perks. So you would need to, again, do your own research and check which one is more suitable for your needs. Of course, you would need to pay for infrastructure, either your own, if you deployed it by yourself, or pay rollup as a service provider. And also grants. So this is a particularly tricky case, because if you need to spend hundreds of millions of dollars to get people build anything on your chain, does your chain actually should be existing, right? But on the other node, you can have these cool grants like Optimus Retro PGF or Arbitrum short-term incentive programs that actually are allowing developers to build something cool and actually grow these ecosystems in a way as well, right? So yeah, this one is tricky, and you should for sure like plan it beforehand. So as you see, there are so many choices, and basically right now we are probably overflowing with new informations, and you are thinking which tech should I actually use, right? So it would be like super cool if there would be a neutral ground where all of this knowledge is gathered in one single place, curated by somebody that you can trust, because if you will go to Optimus spaces or Arbitrum spaces, they of course will say that their tech is like better in this way or another over their competitors, like natural ways of thinking, right, of companies. But actually, you have L2BEAT.com, the website that I'm helping creating. So what we are doing, we are gathering all of this data. Everything that was shown on this presentation is actually from our website. So our two core, let's say, dashboards that we developed is Stages and Risk Rosette. So Risk Rosette shows you what can happen to the funds that you send from Ethereum to those L2s. So for example, if they will want to do a malicious upgrade that will result in your loss of funds? Will you have like an exit window period when you can withdraw? Or is it like they like posting the data somewhere that you can actually like to trust them, right? So this DA piece of this pie that we call the risk rosette, and also like for example, what will happen if the sequencer goes down? Like if you can actually even propose new blocks, will the chain even like still exist, right? And also you have stages. So basically, those are for decentralization. So this is showing you how much of are those rollups decentralized compared, for example, to Ethereum, right? So if the rollup is stage 0, it's still in the centralized period of its lifetime. If it's stage 2, it's like fully, truly immutable rollup. And spoilers ahead, there are not many stage 2 rollups right now. I think there is like only 2. One of them has $100 on it, so not used too much. And the other one is the centralized exchange that forked from other L2 implementation, and they already had to redeploy 3 times because they found bugs, and due to being an immutable rollup, it was like impossible for them to make like an immediate upgrade, right? So they had like to redeploy to secure users' funds. So yeah, if you want, you can visit our website, scan the QR code, and check everything that I was talking about till now. I will like give you 3 seconds if you want to do it. So last 1, 2, 3. Yeah, and to end this presentation, I would actually want to not answer the question in the title, but like ask some questions to you as the whole Ethereum community, right? So should everyone launch their own rollup? So as you probably heard about those 2 cases, maybe like ENS is pretty fresh one, but Public Goods Network was a biggie here and then. So basically, ENS announced that they want to build their own L2. This is the evolution of their protocol, right? And they are strongly leaning, from what I know at least, to ZK stack, right? So the question to the community is like a protocol that is like a core piece of Ethereum should actually like lean towards certain L2 provider, right? So L2 solution. So I'm not going to answer this question. I just want to leave it like that. And then we have Public Goods Network case. So basically, if you don't know, Gitcoin launched their own L2 using OP stack, and due to like some mismanagement here and there, they had to shut it down. And due to various OP stack implementation details, for example, there is a problem now with the funds of users. It's like basically Gitcoin was bleeding money because of this project. It was like costing a lot to maintain it. They didn't have enough activity here and there to actually cover it by fees, for example, right? So they have to shut down it, and due to the OP stack not having fraud proofs, there is a problem for users to actually withdraw the money that they have on it. There is like, I think, a couple of millions of dollars there. They will have the problems to actually withdraw the money back to L1, right? So maybe in like particular cases, for particular protocols, you actually shouldn't try to launch your own chain, but rather maybe stay on Ethereum or like use like other already existing implementations. Yeah, and basically that's it. Thank you. And if you have like any questions about rollups, L2s, I'm here to answer them.
We have time for one quick question. I'll just wait for the mic.
Yeah, thank you for the talk. I just wanted to ask, what is the relationship between stages and the risk rosette? Is the stages like a mapping of the risks in the rosette, or is it something completely different?
No, those are like completely different. So risk rosette is what like 5 things that can happen if you will breach your funds to the L2, right, to the rollup. So do you have time to exit? what will happen if the sequencer goes down, proposer goes down. Is the data is like that is available somewhere? And the last one that I forgot right now. And stages are like about decentralization. So, for example, is there a security council like properly set up? Is there like all of this, like is the project actually calling itself like a rollup, let's say, for example? Is there like a governance that allows you to, you know, like make the updates in like after like a period of time for voting, right? So that the whole like all of the token holders can actually agree on that, and so on and so on.
Yeah, but would it be fair to say that moving up the stages is a solution to the risks that described in the Rosette? Like we're decentralizing to solve the risks? Not necessarily.
Actually, not necessarily, to be honest. Those are like two separate cases because you can have like I mean, you can, for example, have an fully immutable rollup that it has like admin keys, right? For example, but you can still have like, for example, stage 1 rollup, right? That has like some of the red parts of risk rosette. There is like no problem in that. Like, for example, right now, I think the only like general purpose rollup that is stage 1 right now is Arbitrum. So I would suggest like looking at it. They have like their whitelisted fraud proofs. So yeah, this is basically, I think, the best thing to check out on our website. So you will know the details. I can also talk with you after the presentation a bit if you want. Okay, thank you guys very much.